Welcome back, Dota 2 fans. Game 2, CES versus Wheel. Winner vying for a spot in the finals of Stage 1 against VGJ Storm. Loser goes home. CES with a commanding victory in Game 1. Right from the get-go, they just were more impactful in the lanes. QM did not get much at all on his Weaver. KVH, on the flip side, got everything he wanted on the Gyrocopter, and his team just able to snowball to victory. Omni Knight Tidehunter bans. Coming out from Wheel's side, Wyvern once again banned by CES, and they're going to couple it with the Night Stalker here. Definitely both these teams considering the Ogre, Undying, Bane sort of types in lane. CES really mulling over this last ban. Looks like they've prepared something. And in Game 1, they were very direct with their strategy. They drafted the Gyrocopter second overall, which is extremely unlikely to put a core in that position, less a safe lane core. It's often the offlaner who can flex to mid, or some hero of that nature. You pretty much know where Gyrocopter's going. And they do ban the Razor again. Ban Razor in Game 1. Abaddon's going to be the ban from Wheel. Actually could not deal with MJW's Abaddon, especially alongside Wolf's Clockwork in that previous affair. So first pick from CES, a little bit less decisive than in Game 1 here. But they'll pick the Gyro once again. All right. Haters be damned. CES, they think this Gyro is everything. Venge Witch Doctor, so heavy physical damage amongst these two supports. Pretty good lane control as well. A lot of disable offered to them. Definite possibility for an aggressive tri-lane. Voodoo Restoration there as well for some sort of sustain, but most often recently we've seen the Maledict skilled up early on. Maledict, the right clicks, Gyrocopter can be very susceptible to this early on. We'll see how CES look to shore up their lanes, and they'll do it once again with the Ogre. The big silly looking Oaf will get back to work for CES, and certainly the support duo were under impactful for Wheel in Game 1. You know, the Ogre was effectively enough by his lonesome to solo zone Onox's Batrider. So that was a big surprise to me. But Ogre just enough regen and tankiness early on to sustain through what the Bat had to offer. KVH did a good job last hitting under tower, evidently, considering his farm. Viper ban going to come out once again from CES against the Ogre. I suppose is the thought process here. That Razor and Viper are just too difficult in the mid lane for the Ogre to harass. Most other mid laners have a tough time trading with the Ogre. Also, Gyro does want to run at you in some respects, especially early on. He throws the homing missile, can get in close with the rocket barrage, wants to run at you with a call down and flax, and both these Viper Razor type heroes punish you for running in. One with a static link, another with a Viper strike. So just the, I suppose, effective control that they offer against the Gyrocopter is what CIS don't want to deal with. In any case, they ban them. They pick the Gyro first phase both games, ban out the Viper and Razor. Wheel this time will be banning Annihilate's Quap as well as his Puck that he played in Game 1. And TA ban coming out from CES. So not too many mid laners left for either side. Could see something unorthodox in this one. Wheel going to pick up the Clockwork for themselves, so it is going to be either a core Venge or a core Clockwork in this one. But denying from CES. Still an Earth Spirit in the pool. Spirit Breaker possible as well. CES seem, with this gyro, not afraid in any sort of way to go for 2 melee supports. And Wheel looked to punish that last game with the Batrider pick. It didn't necessarily work out as they had intended. But there was nothing like, you know, an Enigma or a Magnus. Nothing, you know, Void. Nothing major as far as, you know, tools to deal with many melee heroes. So the Batrider didn't prove enough of a counter to that. In some ways, Vengeful Spirit and Clockwork seems anti-synergistic. Just with the very kind of small range of the Venge. I mean, Dragon Lance is a great item on Venge, so perhaps I'm overlooking that possibility or underrating it. But you do kind of expect the Venge core. We'll see. Doesn't feel like Clockwork is going to threaten a Gyrocopter any more than the Batrider did in last game. And perhaps even less. Naga Siren pickup from CES is an interesting one. Could be another one of these melee supports, tanky supports in the early game. We've got Night Stalker banned out, Omni Knight banned out, Abaddon banned out. Naga Siren does have pretty good ability to trade. She got, you know, the Riptide as well as high base armor. But could, of course, be the core Naga. That would mean that CES are showing their mid and safe laners in the first 3 picks, which is interesting. But we'll see, you know, what the ban from Wheel is in this last phase, as far as where they think the Naga Siren will be going. My guess at this point is it is a support. All right, Medusa pick coming out from Wheel. Trying to identify what is essentially a lack of damage from CES's side. But I think in the early game they should have enough with the Gyrocopter and what his toolkit brings to the table. Certainly good at... can be very good at taking Roche with this lineup with a core Venge and a Medusa. But again, there is variability offered to Wheel here. They can pick another safe laner in the 5th slot. They do have the overall last pick. So they'll pick the Medusa here. And, you know, there's potential for it to be 1v1 up against a Naga Siren mid lane. But at this point, not expecting that sort of laning configuration from CES. They'll pick up a Nyx Assassin for themselves here, so... Again, leaving the draft open, although they will have to pick 5th. So at that point, Wheel should have a very good idea of what their lanes are. At this point, they are expecting the 3-position Nyx and 4-position Naga as they ban out the OD. So that's 3 melee heroes aside from this Gyrocopter, and they're 4th to be a mid laner of some sort. Juggernaut ban comes out from CES. Could even look at kind of a Lifestealer type hero in the mid lane. Of course, there's no more Poor Man's Shield. Maybe even a Phantom Lancer could work here with a Diffusal against the Medusa. Of course, there's a duality there. I mean, Medusa is just as good, if not better, against PL than PL is against her. This is going to be the Mirana, so, you know, another Diffusal Blade builder, a mid laner more than likely for I Annihilate, and one that can deal with the clockwork early on with the 3 leap charges. So 5th pick here can be, you know, one of a safe laner. It can be anything, to be completely honest. It can't really be an off laner, but it can be a safe laner support. I guess it could be an off laner if you put Venge 1, Medusa 2, and Clockwork Witch Doctor 4 and 5. So yeah, it could really be anything except a mid, let's say. Well, no, they could flex the clock. It could literally be anything. That was a very fun little round of mental gymnastics I had to do. But this could be anything from Wheel, so kudos to them in the way that they've approached this draft. But they are using every damn bit of this reserve time. 7 seconds remaining, and they'll pick the Doom here. So looks like a safe lane Vengeful Spirit with 4 and 5 Clock and Witch Doctor respectively. Medusa will head up mid lane against the Mirana, more than likely. Wolf is the one to pick up the Naga Siren. So as we get our bearing here, it will be a 4-position Naga, 5-position Ogre, 3-position Nyx Assassin, with I Annihilate in the mid on the Mirana. I've never seen Stone Gaze versus Song of the Siren, so that's an interesting dynamic. That Wolf can kind of counter the Medusa's turn by stopping her in her tracks, turning around, wiggling her booty at her, basically. Nyx Assassin, high base armor hero, but definitely killable, especially in the early levels to the Moose Derp Derp QM lane. We may see Moose, spend some time mid. Mario certainly will against the Medusa early on. And we'll see if CES can snowball their way to a 2-0 victory in this series. Feels like they have to. I'm not sure how well they can scale against the Medusa. Well, it remains to be seen. Hopping into game 2, CES up 1-0, guys. Galaxy Battles Emerging Worlds Major Qualifiers. This is the North American Division Stage 1. If that wasn't enough information for you, let me try and simplify it. Winner of this series faces VTJ Storm. Winner of that series faces Complexity. And beyond that, there will be one more series. I won't go that far. Or the actual spot in the major. Unfortunately, North America not able to participate in the wild card. That's only the EU and Chinese regions where their runner-up will participate in a wild card matchup. Or wild card bracket even. So it is only the first place finisher of this North America qualifier that makes it to the major. Optic and Complexity have been directly invited to stage 2 of this qualifier, so they await, the winners of these Group A and B. In Group A, Leviathan waiting in the grand finals. In Group B, VTJ Storm waiting. So any wardage to speak of, pretty much reflective wards here. Difference is this one will see into the lane and any pulls being executed. This one will see the entrance to the jungle. As early on, they actually do give YJS some space in this mid lane up against Annihilate. And wow, nicely played by YJS. He blocks up the arrow and denies the range creep. And this is already a lane YJS is winning here mid. Just by that. He's level 2, Mirana level 1 3/4. So, interesting decision for them not to give the Ogre. They are going to go aggressive with KVH here once again. And that's going to allow them to dual lane with the Naga Siren alongside the Nyx. So, maybe this is just an attempt to, you know, keep MJW having a good game and not being completely zoned out of lane, but it was very curious to me to not see them put Mario up against a Medusa in the mid lane early on. Feels like a hero that you can, whose weaknesses you can exploit very early. So, all right, Bloodlust goes out onto the range creep. Don't know if that was the intention from Mario. KVH, like, what's up, dude? Why didn't you Bloodlust me? And QM just denying 3 creeps in his face. KVH will secure the ranged. Who's going to make a walk towards the rune where Wolf resides alongside his Nyx Assassin. But rune will still be secured by the dire side, and Moose will say, alright, I'll take yours. Attack gas. KVH going to pick one up for himself bottom lane, but he's not going to have the kind of start he had last game. 3-3 on the KVH gyrocopter, and we're already seeing on the opposite side that Onox's Doom even has 10 CS here, 11 and counting. So lane's going much better for Wheel in this game 2 than already here, 2.5 minutes in, than they did in the first. By just having his way with middle lane. 10-3 to the 11-1 of Annihilate. Still feels like they could have punished him a little harder. MJW top lane, battery assault goes out. Onox trying to chase forward with the Infernal Blade, but can't get in range. MJW going to salve up as Wolf, with a double damage rune active, looks to chase down the enemy off lane. Still doesn't get all that much done. Now KVH looking for the derp Witch Doctor, but unable to close the distance here with Mario. I suppose prioritizing the Nyx to maybe have some levels into that mana burn against the Medusa makes some sense, but they finally will swap back the, I think the Gyro will be swapped back to top lane as they do TP MJW away. Mario runs into derp bottom, some pulling going on. This is all just being executed freely in the bottom lane, and KVH really hurting for it. Has gone for 2 points in the flak as they rotate down the Naga Siren. Wolf does have a net, will throw it out. The homing missile will connect as well, but they don't have a rocket barrage. And actually, the Gyro taking tons of damage with the Maledict. He's going to drop. Derp draws first blood. And they bring 3 heroes to the bot lane and are punished heavily with really no commitment from Wheel. They just turn and fight.
I'll take that.
And the early game has just been a disaster for CES. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know. Ignite flies out bottom lane. Homing missile will go. And with the hasted Naga, they get a Riptide off. But TP inbound will deter the CES aggressive lane from further aggression. Perhaps the one silver lining in this early game is I Annihilate in the mid lane, who's trading nicely with the Medusa. And I miss a kill bot lane as Mario and KVH drop. So, unmitigated disaster in the early game for CES as Wheel begin to gain some traction once again in this series, and in this game they've gained quite a bit of it. 31 CS to Onox's Doom, who's pretty much been AFK, dodging stuns top lane. Excuse me. And the KVH gyrocopter with now 2 deaths. I thought they would dissipate this aggressive tri lane earlier as we saw MJW TPing out, but KVH hung around bot lane and died again. And Onox playing very confident in this top lane. May just pay for it here as the rotation is coming in from the south as well on the Ogre. But they're just fine with the way this early game has gone. MJW could even die, perhaps, and he tries to run away instead of turning to fighting into the Nyx, and they will end up getting a kill on the Doom. A much-needed kill at that. The Doom was and is highest net worth in the game. KVH somehow still hanging around here despite 2 deaths, so that kill helping majorly in that cause. And Wheel with the 1k lead here. MJW throws out a stun. Mario gets an ignite off. And MJW did snag the bounty rune, so grabbed himself a couple. He is level 5 here on the Nyx. Pops off the arcane boots, will get bloodlusted up, and yeah, really needs that vendetta before he can start to get to work. Wolf level 3 here, and you take a look across the board. Things pretty even. No level 6, second level 6 hero as Y just does hit. Oh, battery assault onto MJW. He's already used the Carapace. Moonlight Shadow will fly out, and they don't have detection, so he will be able to skitter back to his side of the river. Still, though, desperately needing that level 6. MJW unable to find it. Y just in the mid lane, level 7 on the Dusa, highest level in the game. And, you know, up there as far as CS goes. And this is absolutely true. Moose is absolutely correct. As he snipes a ward. Don't know how many moonbucks he gets for that. Meanwhile, bot lane, MJW in trouble. He's going to get gone on. The net going to come through from Wolf, but it's a little bit late. As, yeah, we do see the Max Maledicting Cask build, which has kind of been the norm as of late. And QM going to be involved in his 4th kill of this one. Every kill that Wheel has net has been in this bottom lane area. TP back in from MJW, still feels like for the last 2 minutes desperately trying to find his level 6 mark, and he should be able to do so shortly with this wave under tower. Naga Siren nearby, he's still actually a fair ways away from it. KVH going to throw out the homing missile top lane, as again Onox has found himself free in this Radiant offlane, and net worth heavily dominated by the Radiant side. Swap back onto MJW, who'll get the Carapace off and throw out the Impale. He's going to be able to get away from the distance of the Magic Missile. Cast range of the Magic Missile, I should say. And meanwhile, top lane going in on Mario. Near the creeps, though, is the Ogre, but he gets Infernal Bladed up and into the perfect set of cogs where the creeps can only watch their hero fall. And this offlane has just done some work for Wheel's side. They are leading handily in this early going. JW still not level 6 yet, and probably won't be with these last 2 creeps. He certainly will not. He was given the safe lane, and that's why I expect this level 6 out of him pre-10 minutes. But having since vacated the safe lane, Doom has eclipsed the level 8 mark, and he has not made the 6 just yet. Mario, Moonlight Shadow, though he's still dusted up, and QM rotating in. They'll kill the Ogre with ease, and perhaps begin to get to work on the tower. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, they do kill off the Witch Doctor, as QM did rotate out of the lane. They will be able to start to put some pressure in here. No siege unit for either side, and a little bit of a head start for Wheel. However, they do have this hero who attacks really slowly. And so they'll about meet as far as pace goes because of it. Annihilate mid lane, being forced back by YJess. And MJW nearby. He does not have a mana burn, though. Arrow does not really connect on much. Mana shield is up, so I don't expect YJess to go down here. And the cask actually going to, well, bounce rather unfortunately, as it didn't bounce between those two heroes. Now MJW in a lot of trouble. Gets his mana burn, but does have the impale. And looks like everyone's surviving for now in that mid lane. Had they hit that arrow on the Medusa, she would have been in a lot worse trouble. But in the meantime, KVH does pick up the tower last hit on his gyrocopter bottom lane, and QM does the same. I would assume he does in the top lane. So rather even trades across the map. I feel like this auto camera, see, this feels nice and centered. You know, when I picked up Mario there early, it didn't feel all that centered, but like it's perhaps changed for the worse. Working on the Mask of Madness, KVH, kind of similar build to last game. Didn't stop off for the phase boots early here, but he will have that Mask of Madness at his leisure. Gonna make a TP up towards the top lane where there's some farm awaiting him. And now meeting up MJW with the Ogre. Mario does have a smoke, and he actually gets under the cover of Vendetta, but cogged up immediately. Carapace will connect onto 2, as does his Impale, but it's almost as if they've left him for dead. Ignite will come out, and they can't get the Shrine off. Mario now in trouble as well. Moonlight Shadow is there. He's not dusted up yet. Call down comes down from the high side, and he will stun up Derp Derp. He's got the Voodoo Restoration going, but KVH forward here, flacking, is going to be able to bring down the Witch Doctor. Arrow does split the wickets between the Doom and the Clockwork. And the reaction is plentiful from CES, but they lose the Nyx for the Witch Doctor, which is a favorable trade for the Radiant, I'd like to say. And certainly the metrics agree with me. And they also have YJess kind of free farming in the bot lane in the meantime. Doom now going to find KVH to make it worse for wear for CES, as Gyrocopter soon to fall. He'll try to lifesteal, but he will be blown to bits by his fellow mechanical member. I suppose the Gyro's a human, but a humanoid robot in Clockwork will take him out. And YJess is doing Medusa things here. His Mask of Madness phase Aquila ready, similar to KVH's. That's 600 extra gold. Where is this? It's in his pockets. Mood 20 seconds. Moves, excuse me, 20 seconds until hook shot. Huh. Wow. He is really good at this. Moose is hacking, guys. Vac. This is the second time he's done this. Well, this one's a little more obvious, but this one was... that was dead on. Man. Map hacks, boys.
Where's my pension?
Double wardage here? Oh, this one about to expire. Scan is going to catch YJess. They're going to look to try and kill this Medusa, but it's a hard kill here, and he is able to back off as Rocket Flare looks like it scouted the CES members. And this will open the door top lane for them to push. Wolf using the illusions to try and nuke down this wave and drag it away. And for that reason, QM probably will have to wait out the next creep wave. I Annihilate pops the DD. And with the Bloodlust, we'll get to work mid lane. As Mario's going to run into a triumvirate of heroes. But the net from Onox is there with the Battery Assault. They don't even use the cogs. Fire Blast will be there to kill him off. And, or as he dies, excuse me. As Onox gets the kill. I Annihilate forced out to the east. He's going to use the Moonlight Shadow as well. And down south he will go. Where there are many TPs for the Radiant side. TP inbound mid lane from Mario. Onox waiting him. As KVH going to do a little farming, so certainly not willing to fight. And the Ogre, he is just going to get chased down here as Wave of Terror will find him. And they'll be able to get in front of him with the cogs. Battery Assault not even needed for Moose, and this Tier 1 not long for this world. Annihilate will start to put pressure into bottom, but immediately a couple of TPs inbound to back him away. And mid lane, everyone surviving just fine. MJW looking to punish them though. 2-man impale, and the homing missile will connect. Swap back onto the Witch Doctor, but he does end up falling to KVH's flat cannon. Now a Starfall through 2 Moves, and CES, as soon as they see the TP's bottom lane, they pounce. MJW, right place, right time, mid lane. Get them 3 kills on the, including the QM Vengeful Spirit. So, and a 4 times kill streak from Moose was eliminated as well. You show the fight recap here. And all of a sudden, only a 2K lead. It's about a 1,800 net worth swing in the way of CES's favor, and 1,800 experience going their way as well. So a big win for them on the back end of that, where everything seemed to be going wrong. Still, though, they have this unaddressed issue of the YJS Medusa, who they'll have a lot more trouble killing, it feels, than either of those 3 heroes in mid. KVH, though, he's assuming boss form as he did last game. Going directly for the BKB here, though, as he's not nearly ahead as he was, not facing an OD. Looks to go straight into the BKB. There is still a Doom, though, to deal with that. And we'll see if Onox is a Shadow Blade or anything of the sort. He's gone for Drum's Blade Mail, so kind of playing that frontliner. They already have a Medusa in this game, though, so some part of me thinks that the Shadow Blade could be better. However, maybe thinking that since he's up against a Nyx Assassin, that, to play the Vision game is going to be a dicey one. They may have already been scouted by, this pretty much 100% uptime Vendetta as soon as he hits level 2. So opting for more of the tanky frontlining Doom build. They do have the Song of the Siren. We've yet to see any applications of that in this game. Annihilate. Again, going to get to work on the bottom tier 1. Looking for a Diffusal Blade at this point. And is a good ways away from that. But he's going to get, enough work done on this tower, it seems, bottom lane. He'll grab himself a little bit of farm as well with the Starstorm. And Glyph already used here. Dire now going to respond with their Glyph top lane. Slow down the push of YJS and QM. And Annihilate will find the trade for his squad. He's got KVH farming elsewhere. So, if they don't get any significant pressure on the tier 3, I would say that overall this small window of time has been a win for CES. And it does look like the wheel unit will disperse and get back to farming. So CES with the right call during that little window, and that's a pretty much full Diffusal Blade. Another 500 gold or so for Annihilate will net him that very important item. YJS Medusa working on the Hurricane Pike. And KVH again, still working on the BKB and is very, very close. Call down will fly mid lane. Gets him one last hit. And Moonlight Shadow is going to be expended. As bottom lane, MJW going to go on with on the clockwork with the Mana Burn and the Starstorm. Easy kill. Nice use of the Moonlight Shadow there, but they could be in trouble as Annihilate trying to TP out, uses 2 leaps and a TP. Sick hero, Ice Frog. Sick hero indeed. So playing the dodging game CES and doing it well, as again KVH just continues to kind of farm away with the Bloodlust. They really do give, a high amount of priority to this Gyro plus Ogre combo in both games, picking it up first phase. MJW scouting around, is in perfect position to pop this smoke, and he'll do it immediately. Gets the blink away, dust is wasted. And smoke tanked. Perfect timing for MJW as CES showing signs of life in this game. Does, use up the Vendetta, but an immediate reactionary smoke from CES. On the high ground, though, is Onox. They get the stun off. The net is there as well. From the high side, MJW gets the impale. Homing missile comes through. He's still so tanky, though. BKB going to be popped off. Doom is there onto the gyrocopter. Onox is still alive, and they'll take everyone out with the Medusa and the Death Ward. And Doom is just not the hero you want to go on if you're CES. And they thought they had the kill potential. They certainly did not. Annihilate, fortunately for them, does get out, but KVH uses a 10-second BKB charge and ends up just pretty much feeding. And that is a costly teamfight loss for CES just as they began to drag it back into this game. They are going to lose 2 key heroes, and they'll lose 2 towers more than likely as well. Mid lane TP's inbound from Derp. Arrow will connect to kill off the siege creep, and Annihilate again looking for the trade here. There is no Doom available, so Annihilate should feel okay. 4-staff forward, and the Moonlight Shadow used in this mid lane. They will lose the tier 2 as mentioned previously. And walking over a ward is YJess's Medusa, but he's not nearly alone as the Clockwork is nearby. Meanwhile, top lane, they do look to go in onto the Venge. They should kill off QM here. Tries to force forward, will end up dropping to the last arrow. That will fly forward. Vengeance Aura going to do some work onto Annihilate. The cask bouncing through the creeps. He will leap up to the high ground and does make it back to safety as he'll TP to base. So really it's been Annihilate that's making the plays for his side this game. 3-0-1 on the Mirana, has just been able to get in and out of these engagements. You know, since this kind of mid-game portion of the game where Wheel had a pretty sizable advantage. You know, almost 4K at 10 minutes in, certainly was kind of scary to stare into for CES, but they've made it rather even overall. Still does feel very difficult for them to kill the Medusa. We saw them have difficulty killing a Doom here, so you can only imagine how much more effective HP the Medusa has, or at least as much, you would say. MJW hunting once again. Moonlight Shadow not available for 40 seconds. QM showing bottom lane, and it looks like they'll make a movement towards him, but warding here does scout Annihilate's movement. And this observer ward for the Dire, in fact, in Radiant Sentry vision as soon as they come to this point. QM nearby, as is Annihilate. Everyone rotating over, though, and Mario could be in a good position to tank this smoke. He will be gone on. Cask will bounce once, and they'll make the kill, but this is essentially going to mean Annihilate gets out, and maybe Mario does too. Maledict doing some work here, but yeah, he'll be just fine. And again, we saw it with MJW's Nyx Assassin, and now we see it with the Ogre Magi. 2 smokes tanked, and Wheel have just been, you know, unfortunate with these movements. And perhaps you could look at good positioning too from CIS's side. Moonlight Shadow is going to be popped. QM is seen here bottom lane. MJW rotating through with Vendetta is going to take a look at the Doom. Now think of going on the Vengeful Spirit. They will with the Impale. Arrow going to follow as well. Starstorm is there, and yeah, pretty much can just watch under the cover of Shadowblade. The swap back tries to save the Venge, but she ends up dying. Meanwhile, they find the Clockwork top lane as well with KVH and the Naga, and Wolf working on a Radiance at this point. Doom does find Annihilate. This is a huge kill. And yeah, Onox will finally find the response for his side. YJess still this entire time hasn't died, and Annihilate for the first time does end up going down. Nox going to run into MJW, give him a good amount of damage. Has a net in just a second, in fact, and Sentry will go down. Infernal Blade will be there. Spike Carapace flies out. So Derp gets the cask off, and this will kill MJW effectively. No? Okay, he's alive. Thought he might just end up dying to the cask damage. That was... Huh. Did he have raindrops? Wow. Guess he was not as low as I anticipated. Mario, under the cover of invisibility, could... have a gander at the enemy here. 2 Sentry Wars committed for that kill on MJW, and neither will be able to get the job done. Manta Style being worked on by KVH, just trying to make it even more difficult for him to get doomed. But I mean, we've seen Onox have the inclination to just doom him through BKB, and you can't really blame him. Just the mute is enough. Silence and mute is enough of a reason to doom up the KVH gyro. 1,500 gold on MJW. See what he intends on working on. Nothing queued up just yet. He does it by a couple packs of dust. QM hasn't scaled brilliantly through the game as a Vengeful Spirit. He has taken 3 spills in this one. And since the early game has, had a little bit of trouble finding places to farm. As YJess, he takes a lot of the farm on the map up. And rightly so. Is working on the Scotty. Just needs the point booster to finish that off. 600 gold or so away from that. Rocket Flare. Man, that is hard to follow with smooth grip. I Annihilate finished up the Diffusal a while back, working on the Manta style now, and has enough with a creep or 2 here to get the ultimate orb.
The prize is mine.
And spot lane shoving in the wave will be the Ogre. And always a luxury when you can have one of your supports kind of do that. Scan, though, will contact the Dire, the Radiant side. The Dire are the ones to deploy the scan. And MJW in the mid lane looking again. They've made this mistake before, and the creep will actually connect. No, swap QM kind of puts himself in harm's way. Is going to get netted up. Moonlight Shadow will be there. Now KVH rotating in from the south side with the call down. Muzi taking a lot of damage here despite the Blade Mail being there. KVH will finish him off. Now they find O Nox with the homing missile. Fire Blast is going to be there as well in CES. Just seemed like there was no detection in that mid lane, no sentries anywhere, and Moonlight Shadow allows them to re-engage even after missing that arrow. And this could mean they look to go for Roche here with the Mask of Madness. Naga Siren, we talked about her high armor, 13 armor on this support Naga Siren who only has a Force Staff and Arcane Boots. And with the Bloodlust, they're going to look to try and take Roche, but buybacks will come out from the Clockwork, at least for Wheel side. And they'll see Roche on at about 55% HP or so. 60% therein. KVH working on a Lincoln's. Looks like he got a little scared maybe in the mid lane as he purchased one up. It is in his backpack, so he could have potentially had it before then. But he's not all that far off of Lincoln's. It's about 500 gold away. Speaking of Lincolns, we've got a Scotty on YJS. He's actually working on BKB on top of this. And that is one thing we haven't really seen in all these engagements that CES is taking favorable trades. It really feels like the Medusa's not present. The one time she was up on this hill where they took a very decisive team fight victory. MJW doesn't even have 4 levels in the mana burn yet. He is really close to 15 though. So that could be a big tool for them to have up against the Medusa. UM up on the high ground. MJW lucky that there was no sentry vision down. And now Hookshot on the north side is actually going to find the Ogre. Dirk going to rotate in as well. Mario tries to get forced away. Call down will fly through. MJW gets the Spike Carapace off, but they'll pretty much leave the Ogre to die. And he will throw out a Fire Blast. They don't get the arrow off. And now Doom actually popped into the Lincoln Sphere of KDH, but they still can't fight into this Dusa. We finally do see the Song of the Siren allowing them to escape. And that was a Doom used into a Lincoln Sphere, guys. And still, Wheel takes the fight. And that is the power of this Medusa. CES do not have the damage to fight into this Medusa. Arrow will fly out. Does connect at long range on the Vengeful Spirit. But the cogs are there to keep them from jumping forward. MJW does catch a 2-man impale. Gets the Carapace off as well. But he's all out by his lonesome near the pit. And he'll just take some right clicks and go down. KVH takes out the Clockwork in the meantime. Roche is getting rather low. And it looks like CES will be forced to concede. As Aegis goes into the pockets of YJS. And I find myself hard pressed to see them being able to fight this Medusa. Every glimmer of hope that has come for CES's side has been with the absence of the Dusa. And trying to maximize the effectiveness of this flak cannon. KVH getting to work. That is a thing of beauty, isn't it? Watch that in your replays, boys and girls. That was something to see.
Where's my pension?
And I mean, for a gyrocopter, keeping up with a Medusa is, for obvious reasons, very respectable. Medusa basically has 24/7 flak cannon. So, KVH certainly very comfortable on this hero. And, you know, they are showing CES's why they pick his gyrocopter first phase in both of these games. Relic, is it complete here for the Naga? Huh. Seems like at one point she was actually relatively close to getting it, but now 7 deaths is... Oh, there it is. Okay, it's in the backpack. Okay. There you go, MRP. Why just going to take out the mid tower? No contest whatsoever from CES's side. I Annihilate. This tier 2 was removed a long time ago, if you recall, so he's not really getting much of consequence done in this bottom lane. Why just will be scouted by some dire vision, but you know, they can't kill the Medusa once, less 2 times. About 5 damage a pop. As bot lane, I'll jump forward to look to stun up the Doom Assassin, I was going to say. The Doom, but I don't know if they've got the damage. Now with the rotation in from KVH, they should. As Flak Cannon cleans up all the units. He does get the Doom off, however. And Rocket Flare will fly. He's going to die. They're going to need to deny him here, it feels. Yeah, turn around, my friend. And the denial attempt was feeble from MJW. So much armor on the gyrocopter. 19 armor. MJW had no chance. That was funny to watch. But the Doom ends up getting the kill. So, I mean, Onox, he's just proven so tanky with the Blade Mail. He gets enough damage done. Drops the Doom. Level 3. It is a level 18 Doom here. And kills off the gyro. So, well worth it. 50 seconds on the sideline. YJess with Aegis. And why not YJess? He's going to make his way up to the high ground. And start to try and force this buyback out. As Tower's going to be bloodlusted. And there are no units nearby. Glyph's going to be expended, though. Rotation around from MJW. He does have a mana burn available. Gets off the Vendetta. And gets the mana burn off onto YJess. It's going to do a lot of damage and almost take away the mana pool of the Medusa. But the hookshot going to come through. Swap back onto MJW. He's in trouble. Going to get his Yules off. Death Ward is channeling. Nothing to cancel it. The arrow finally comes through onto QM, but... everyone needing to back under Moonlight Shadow, and Stone Gaze even forcing Mario out. MJW, yeah, this will be the melee racks. He will get off the Carapace to stun the Medusa momentarily. She is pretty much out of mana at this point, but does still have Aegis. KVH gonna grab himself a Medusa here as he BKBs up, but it looks like they may have enough to re-engage here. Arrow will connect. Call down flying through. Derp just may have fed himself over as YJess just doesn't have the wherewithal to continue fighting here. Moo's in trouble. They get the Yules up. Nicely played there by MJW, though. Will get 3 kills. It's a triple kill for the Gyro and a Gem of True Sight on the deck, but the damage as far as structurally was done to CES's side. And it does, you know, kind of catch a lot here, the team fight recap. Whereas overall the metrics coming the way of CES, but you know, if you include the gold gained from the Raxing, Wheel will be, you know, overall okay with that. They do use an Aegis though, so for CES, you know, being able to outlast them there is rather impressive. And they do have 2 farm damage dealing cores, where I would say maybe the Vengeful Spirit for QM, not quite, you know, pulling her weight relative to the Mirana. And you could say it's the same for MJW versus the Doom, but with the mana burn, he's almost always going to be useful. And the control he offers does now have the gem as well, which is perhaps maybe even the biggest trade found in that engagement is that gem. And with the Moonlight Shadow, you know, if they can get back some map control, you look at the Radiant, they're now playing entirely blind. 1 ward in the bottom hemisphere of the map after the exchanging the gem over. And bot lane, KVH will clean up a creep wave. Satanic available for his gyrocopter now. Gonna get all the more difficult to kill.
Boom, there it goes.
And moving into the Radiant jungle with their gem is MJW and CES. Now there is this one Radiant piece of vision, but they are other than that blind, and it doesn't see any heroes yet. MJW now in the mid lane. Feeling a little tentative, but there actually are no sentries around, and even if there were, he could always carapace and blink away. But I suppose they just didn't feel totally assembled, CES's side, so... Yeah, and MJW playing rather safe. Rocket will try to do some scouting, a little bit of pushing bottom lane as well. CES playing on the opposite side of the map right now. And with their wave naturally pushing in.
Incoming.
Wheel hanging around on the top side. Radiance is up for Wolf, so he can kind of, you know, without risk, shove in this bottom lane. Units will approach the base of CES. MJW with gem in hand is hanging out as KVH will look to finish off these creeps. Annihilate still shoving the bottom lane in, joined up by Wolf's Naga Siren, who, as mentioned previously, does have the Radiance. It is, you know, an extremely late one, but can at least help her to accelerate her farm. Perhaps get some other items up. MJW looking for the stun on Derp. Derp will find it. Call down is there. Force staff back, but homing missile should fly through, and Derp should be in major trouble here. They do get the Moonlight Shadow off. Swap back, though, keeping him safe for now, and Onox hanging around under the cover of Shadow Blade. The Radiant scan does indicate to them that the Nyx is nearby, and for that reason, they will back out. Rotating in was the Naga Siren with the sleep, but both sides just content to kind of back off and farm after that one. MJW nearby finds himself a Clockwork, and they can get the kill, it feels, if they rotate into Mirana, but they are rather deep. I need to stop saying rather, man. I wonder how many people are triggered right now by the amount of times I've said that. They are quite deep. They are fairly deep. Considerably, significantly. Somewhat. Doom pressing forward with the Shadow Blade. MJW does have the gem, though. And yeah, they will be able to leap out and Vendetta away. Was that a flutter I heard? Yes, YJS full BKB and Butterfly at this point. Wow. Very farm. But KVH, he's even surpassed him. 4,300 gold in the pockets of the Gyro, though. Really wants to be able to spend this. He has an Aquila in the backpack. Might consider selling it here to complete up the Butterfly, but does need to get over to a secret shop. Which is, at this point in the game, not an easy task. In fact, the entire lineup crowded around the secret shop. And Annihilate is weary to that fact. They are going to work on the shrine. With a gem nearby, MJW scurries away. Doesn't want to lose that gem. Naga with the Diffusal Blade here for Wolf. So starting to become a presence, you know, looking to join up the Vengeful Spirit as far as 15k net worth goes. And he should be able to do so pretty soon. So, you know, Wolf doing his best core impression at this point in the game. Farming up some of the Radiant side of the map, pushing in the wave. And this is a big help to this CES lineup to have the luxury of a support pushing the wave out like that. Moose is going to be found out farming some creeps here. There is a Radiant Sentry, though, that MJW is trying to walk around right now. So just a couple wards down now for the Radiant side. This one is an interesting one. Kind of an anti-gem ward, too. Very hard to de-ward, of course. Have to put a ward there yourself.
I'll take that.
Arcane Rune picked up by Onox. You could certainly use the cooldown reduction on the Doom. And Radiant Sentry nearby does scout MJW briefly, but... You know, had QM been in swap range there, that could have been a major kill. They get the Doom on him and kill him quickly, find the gem. But MJW makes it away for now. And back down into the river he will go, where Derp resides, and throws a sentry down. Arrow will fly. Doesn't connect on anything. It's for scouting purposes, essentially. As YJS pushes in the middle lane and is level 25. So +7 split shot targets for YJS. That is just nuts. Gyrocopter, also level 25, has gone for the... Well, who goes for the global call down, honestly? That is just... That's garbage, isn't it? Maybe on like a 15-second timer, it'd be good. Even then. How do you even have the mana for that? I don't know. MJW gonna get hooked on here. Moonlight Shadow is there. They dust him up though. He will get the Spike Carapace off. Reflects the stun onto the Vengeful Spirit. Arrow is gonna split the wickets, but they get the Impale. A couple of homing missiles out onto the Clockwork as well. KVH gonna be able to pop his BKB here. Flat Cannon does not kill off the Clockwork yet. YJS chasing away I Annihilate. Meanwhile, on the north side, they're working on the Doom. He's been isolated out, and they will take him out. YJS working on the Naga Siren does kill her off. Arrows fly out from the high ground from I Annihilate. YJS is just unkillable. Meanwhile, trying to work on the Ogre is QM, and he will finish him off. They're going for the Venge, though, and they've isolated her out as YJS made his way down to the south. There's a triple kill for KVH, and we talked about how CES are not able to kill this Medusa, and so they ignore her. Why not? Let's kill all 4 other heroes, and they only lose their 2 supports. Regeneration Rune nearby the Roche, and they're going to force 2 buybacks out almost immediately as KVH pops up the Satanic, gets to work on the Roshan. MJW nearby still has the gem on his person. Derp going to show, and yeah, they're probably going to be content with that team fight win that they took and back out. Radiant Sentry is there, and MJW should have walked by it. He'll go find an Arcane Rune bottom lane. No real other lane pushed out, and only 3 heroes alive here for CES. They are unable to press the pit. MJW on the low ground here in sentry range, but no one nearby to punish him, as arrows will fly. Blair will scout the pit, and both teams a little bit too hesitant to press forward. 5 units up, though, now for CES. And the full butterfly completed for KVH. He's got 3k gold in addition to that. YJS probably going to have a Moon Shard next. Can kind of get rid of the Mask of Madness and the Hurricane Pike at some point. But feels only natural to get the Moon Shard beforehand. KVH similarly so. Oh, he can upgrade his Yasha. Sans Yasha Kaya. Ultra late game. Arrow's not going to really hit anyone. DD, though. This could be enough to take Roche here. He is rather low. MJW going to scout this out. They'll give it to KVH. Will they think about going in the pit here? They do have a gem. They'll drop up a ward. Still double damage on KVH. Thinking about it now. Lincoln Sphere is up. Oh, he's got it bottled, in fact. Puts the Yasha in the backpack. And now Swap is going to try and find MJW. He gets the Carapace off, but he's hooked up. KVH jumping forward with the Doom. Gets the call down off. Sleep will be there, though, from the Naga Siren. KVH still working under BKB, but he's in trouble here as YJS presses forward with his BKB. And CES looking to bail off the back of their Naga Siren song. They do collect the gem, and homing missiles will fly out. YJS trying to take them down. Both will hit onto the Doom. Ignite on the Medusa. That'll be all she wrote for now. I Annihilate very low as well on the Mirana. They're going to try and Bloodluster, get her back to base so she can TP out. They don't have a Shrine, though, at this point. So, you know, if the Radiant take advantage of this window where the Mirana is missing, they should surely win the team fight. No Sleep Up, no BKB available either for KVH. And even with the double damage rune bottled there, they don't really get much done. It seemed like maybe when the Flak was up, that the Naga Siren used the sleep, so he was really only hitting the Medusa with that double damage flak cannon. MJW has the gem once again, pressing forward onto YJS, gets the mana burn off. Force away from YJS, homing missile will be there as well, and Moose as well as Onox waiting in the wings to dare CES to go on their Medusa. Dewarding being done here. Rocket Flare is going to scout out. They will get the arrow into Roche and put KVH in the pit. Bloodlust is going to be there onto the Nyx Assassin. MJW up to the high ground. Wolf going to try and do some scouting with his Radiance Illusions. It will be dropped down. Homing missiles will fly out from KVH. And wards should be scouted here, as they will be taken out. KVH will see to that. Arrows will not connect. Call down, jumping forward. BKB from QM. KVH going to pop his as well. Gets his Lincoln Sphere pop, but there's no Doom just yet. YJS, however, connecting with the Stone Gaze on 2, and he just shreds the supports. That's the Naga Siren and the Ogre down. KVH now jumping forward. MJW does have a gem. Meanwhile, I Annihilate on the backsides does take out the Witch Doctor, but may pay with his own life, and he does. And he'll probably be forced to buy back here. KVH and MJW in the meantime take out the Doom, and the Mirana does indeed buy back. MJW trying to blink to the high ground. Blinks down to the low ground. KVH nearby, though, and does get the homing whistle off onto the Vengeful Spirit. MJW has a blink in a moment. And Hurricane Pike will be used onto the homing missile, which will still connect on the Vengeful Spirit. MJW not willing to press with the gem in hand. But the buyback from the Mirana should at least secure the Roche here. And it does. She'll pick up an MKB and get to work alongside KVH. Slam will connect onto 3 of them. Rocket Flare will be there as well. And looking to bring down this Roche. It is only the second Roche of the game. So Cheese and Aegis picked up here. Cheese to KVH. Aegis to I Annihilate, who has the slot. And he can't always put his Yasha in the inventory once again. 5,400 gold on this Gyrocopter. He's yet to really pick anything up. Orchid actually picked up by YJS, so looking for a Bloodthorn late game. A great item, of course. Any item that costs over 7,000 gold is going to be good in the late game. And he replaces his Mask of Madness for that. We're going to forego the Moon Shard for now. And I'm going to get a drink of water. minutes into this one. The score is 24-24. There's almost been exactly 1 kill a minute across both teams. And incredibly even game. 4K net worth lead for CES. 1 lane of racks in favor of the Radiant side. And in fact, 2 tier 2s up for the Radiant. I mean, the middle lane one, perhaps negligible as far as how much health it has, but they do have this fairly healthy tier 2 in the top lane. Whereas, you know, tier 4 is effectively exposed for the Dire side. And this top lane is shoving in. So even having Aegis doesn't feel like immediately... You know, they'll get this tier 2 and back. Let's put it that way for CES. They won't get much more done than that. They'll have to probably TP back and shove this out. Although Wolf is already doing that and does have Diffusal Radiance bots on this Naga Siren out of the 4 position. And went for the kind of carry-oriented build aside from the level 10 talent with the 15 Agi. I guess against the Medusa makes sense. She'll be the one killing off your illusions. So go for the physical damage resistance as opposed to the raw HP. So KVH will take out the tier 2. As aforementioned, I Annihilate will be the one to actually pick up the last hit. They'll think about going top, but don't know how hard they'll commit here. Top lane will be dealt with, it seems, by Wolf. So Radiant's still pretty good item as far as shoving lanes, even 47 minutes into the game, it seems. And up on the cliff, CES will get some vision down. They still do have the gem, of course. Actually, Moose has a gem of his own, but yeah. There's still one in MJW's possession. And MJW has been a real nuisance in the previous fights, so picking up a gem on the Clockwork could punish him for kind of his forward positioning. He's got a Blink, Yule's, Ghost Scepter, and Spike Carapace, so under the cover of Vendetta, you know, with a gem in your hand, you feel very, very safe to kind of make these plays that MJW has been making, and they have set his team up very nicely for fortuitous team fights thereafter. But, you know, now with the gem on Wheel's side, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to do that. Any big level 25 talents to come? Magic Missiles, Piercing Spell Immunity, pretty good against KVH. The Doom as well. Going to have the extra DPS from Infernal Blade. MJW. Yeah, so nothing I would say game-breaking. As I Annihilate does have his Lincolns popped. Rocket Flare will fly. MJW on the high ground, gem in hand. But Moo's in the front lines, gem in hand as well. Jump forward, MJW catches an Impale onto one. Will reflect the stun as well. QM could be in trouble here. Arrow connects from point blank range, and they'll force him into trouble here. Sleep will catch most of the Radiant lineup, however. And they'll heal up QM. Rocket Flare going to fly out. MJW on the high side with KVH trying to take someone out. The swap will be there, however, to keep the Witch Doctor safe, or the Doom safe. And now, for Hurricane Pike onto I Annihilate will force him out to the east. KVH trying to get in to do some damage as the Stone Gaze is popped up. Onox going to try and make it away. I Annihilate over on the east in a very spread out affair, as they will find the Doom to the north, isolate him out, and that's the first casualty of the fight. Ignite's going to fly out from Mario. He's trying to get some damage done. Arrows will fly, and Moo's forced to dodge it. Will be mana burned and Diffusal slowed up, and he's going to be dropped here as the second Diffusal slow coming through from the Naga Siren. 2 heroes down, CES. They have just looked so sharp this series, just really understanding how to fight into this Medusa. She is by no means behind in this game, but cannot get anything done in these fights as they kite her consistently with the extra homing missile charges, with the leaps from the Mirana, with the Song of the Siren sleep. It's just been perfect thus far. They will start to get to work on these tier 3s. There is a buyback on the Clockwork, no buyback on the Doom, however. And the Naga Siren not present for Wolf. Neither is MJW's Nyx. He does have a set of Boots of Travel, though, as he'll heal up. And as backdoor protection kicks in, that'll likely mean the end of the road for CES as far as this push goes. Orchid out on MJW will force his blink defensively, but he'll be just fine. Shrine's still not available after all these team fights and wins lately for CES. Not available for the taking, that is. So, Aegis is short to expire about that point. And they've yet to use it, but they are sitting high ground with MJW. Radiant do have vision of the high ground, however. And a swap down onto MJW. He blinks back up to the high ground, though. Wow, beautiful play, and even dodged me on the camera there. Arrows will fly, not connect onto anything. And now they're well aware of the vision on the high ground, as he'll blink up and take it out. Swap down for the Venge, feeling a little less threatened. That is a really quick play by MJW, as QM pretty much puts him in major harm's way. Working on a Scotty now for I Annihilate. Has a cheese in his back pocket. KVH goes for a Bloodthorn of his own, in fact, getting rid of that Yasha. And Mask of Madness has been gone for a little while now for this Gyro, as he picked up the Satanic way back when. Work on a Moon Shard shortly. As far as the buyback scenario goes, most heroes have it for the Radiant side, and just the Gyrocopter for the Dire. So a litany of buybacks come out, you know, during that Roche fight. But it definitely was a good decision for CES, as they ended up taking the Roche and the tier 2s, top and mid lane thereafter. Really back and forth affair here, and definitely feels like Wolf's Radiance Naga has helped to keep them in the game. I mean, the Radiant, despite having a lead, have been playing blind for a long while now. The Dire, you know, a little bit more vision afforded to them, but they do always have the Vendetta and the Moonlight Shadow with the gem. So bot lane, a smoke movement made out, and looking for the Naga as they see her illusions nearby is Onox and his comrades, and he does have a Shadow Blade. Naga is nearby farming Ancients here, and is going to pop the smoke and is just going to be killed off. As well, I say that, and gets the force down to the low ground. Song of the Siren not really catching anyone either. but she will survive. And it's a low cooldown with the Octarine at this point. It's looking at 60 seconds, so. Was that last hit stolen by the Radiance Naga on the low ground? That was sick stuff. YJess, he's 6 slotted here with the level 2 Boots of Travel. Can use the Moon Shard, and he's got it queued up. He's about 1,600 gold away from having both buyback and Moon Shard gold. MJW, a bit of a scouting mission. Minimum Roche respawn is 50 seconds away. So perhaps just looking for wards here on the Nyx. Now 100 Agi this game. Pretty damn good against the Medusa. I don't think you go for Vendetta Obstructed Passing, but he's made some great opening plays to team fights with this Vendetta gem combination. And so maybe, you know, coming from the tree line could perhaps make that even more of a devastating combo. So we'll see what ends up happening. Does seem like to some extent KVH has taken a backseat in farm and tried to allow this Naga to scale, and it may look to pay dividends. Naga level 23 here, 4th overall in the net worth and this tri-core, so to speak, whereas MJW started out as the core. Have assumed, you know, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as far as the net worth goes. So still only the issue of bringing down that YJess Medusa. And this has got to be 55 minutes. Has got to be grueling, as the Ogre and the Witch Doctor still have pretty much nothing to show for it. Looking at about 100 net worth per minute. 100 GPM. Can I say that? 200. All right. 265. They've obviously spent other gold, you know, on support items and whatnot, but net worth wise, 55 minutes, 5,800 net worth, 6,200. Meanwhile, bot lane, they do actually find KVH with the Doom. Annihilate has rotated in, though, and it is going to be perhaps the full-on scrap as YJess gets the BKB off. KVH, though, he is going to end up dropping. Massive kill streak, 1,100 gold to Onox. And fortunately for the Dire side, it is a 40-second timer until Roche respawn. They're going to jump forward, looking for the YJess Medusa, who has not used the Stone Gaze just yet. MJW not going to connect with that second Impale, and now the Nyx Assassin in trouble. Gets the Ghost Scepter off, has the Eul Scepter as well. Trying to blink away will be MJW. He can't get it done, and he'll drop. 2 heroes for CES on the sidelines. 120 seconds, the longer of the respawns, both of which have buyback. However, it feels like both of which will have to expend it. As Wolf beginning to push in the bottom lane, trying to find out the Naga is Moose. 7 seconds. Oh, can cancel the TP here with the Cogs. Doesn't do it. Battery Assault may be the better play attempt there, but now they know the Clockwork is not there. They'll buy back both of their heroes into the song here, knowing the Clockwork is not nearby. Arrows will fly and will not connect as the BKBs come out. KVH taking a lot of damage, has a Satanic, can't just turn yet because of the because of the Stone Gaze. Will turn now, but gets petrified, dies back along with MJW, and we're gonna take this series to a game 3 as we'll run over after the Song of the Siren. CES in their base. Annihilate looking to turn and fight into the Doombringer, but dies to Blade Mail, and will end up buying back now. Q rather low. Annihilate out of leap charges will pop the Moonlight Shadow. They get down the Vengeful Spirit. YJess is actually going to end up dying here, and they don't even lose the racks mid lane. There's going to be a litany of buybacks though coming out from the Radiant side. They're going to look to end the game here, and only 2 heroes left. Ultra kill for QM as his Vengeful Spirit, Vengeful Aura Spirit kills off another hero. And it was the Ogre that he does end up getting in. Game will end with Wheel winning it. And CES, surprised they kept it in this game for this long. But they should fall here. QM is going to be dropped to Annihilate, but Annihilate is going to die as well. And YJS just objective-based gaming, working on the Ancient as a 1K net worth lead for CES as they lose the game. Just an incredibly even affair throughout. And Wheel able to take this one as they square things up 1-1. Galaxy Battles, Emerging Worlds, NA qualifiers here. Spot in the finals of Stage 1 up for grabs. Game 3 coming up next here on twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit. Stick around, guys. CES Wheel, Game 3.